All right, let's jump right in. Every project management office, or PMO, makes big promises, right? Promises about efficiency, about strategy, about delivering real value. But here's the thing, where are those promises actually kept? Today, we're going to talk about PMO's service operation, that critical day-to-day work that turns all that potential into proven performance. Let's see how it's done. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If developing a service is making the promise and onboarding is the handover, well then service operation is the moment of truth. This is where the rubber meets the road. It's where your PMO's reputation gets built or broken in the daily grind of execution. It's where your stakeholders decide if you're a real strategic partner or, just another line item on the budget.
So to be super clear, what we're talking about here is the phase where all the planning, all the design, all that high-level strategy, it all becomes real. It's the daily management of your services, making sure they're up, they're reliable, and they're delivering exactly the value they were supposed to. It's really the difference between a plan on a PowerPoint slide and a promise actually fulfilled.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to break this down into 4 key areas. First, we'll talk about why service operation is the PMO's ultimate proving ground. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of managing daily service delivery. After that, we'll shift focus to the crucial skills of engaging with your customers and managing risk. And to wrap it all up, we'll give you an actionable self-assessment you can start using right away.
First up, let's dive into Section 1, the PMO's proving ground. This is all about that massive shift from planning and preparing to actually doing the work. This is the ultimate test of how effective your PMO is in the real world.
And this quote right here really hits the nail on the head. The key words are consistent and reliable. Look, anyone can have a good day or a good week, but building a reputation, building real trust across the organization, that only comes from delivering high-quality service day in and day out. It's that relentless consistency that turns a PMO from just a support function into an absolutely indispensable strategic asset.
And have a look at this. This shows you exactly where service operation fits in the grand scheme of things. It's not some final step. It's a vital piece of a continuous cycle we call the PMO value flywheel. You develop a service, you onboard your customers, and then you operate it. But, and this is key, the insights you get from that daily operation are what fuel the next stage, service improvement, which, in turn, makes your next round of service development even smarter. It's a living, breathing process.
Okay, so that's the why. Now let's get into the how. Moving on to Section 2, we're looking at what I like to call the engine of your PMO, managing daily service delivery. This is the practical, hands-on stuff that keeps everything running smoothly.
You can really think of the daily grind as standing on 4 core pillars. First, there's daily management. That's all about being proactive, looking at the schedule, and prioritizing tasks for the day. Second, SLA execution. This is huge. It means meeting the specific performance promises you've made. Third is request handling, making sure you've got a rock-solid system for tracking and prioritizing all the work coming your way. And finally, resource management. The art of matching the right people to the right tasks.
Let's dig a little deeper on that SLA pillar for a second, because the difference here is like night and day. A PMO with an SLA-focused culture is proactive. It builds trust. It clearly demonstrates its value to the business. Without that focus, you're just constantly reacting to whatever's on fire. It creates confusion for your customers, and it massively increases the risk of things falling through the cracks.
Now let's talk about your team, your most valuable asset for sure. Managing them effectively really boils down to a few key things. It all starts with having a crystal clear picture of everyone's skills and who's available. From there, you can start matching tasks to the right people, using a system to keep workloads balanced and fair. And it's so important to have regular team meetings to hash out any challenges. And remember, tracking utilization isn't just about today's efficiency. It's the data that helps you make way smarter plans for the future.
Okay, time to shift gears for Section 3. We've talked about the internal engine. Now let's look outward at engaging customers and managing risk. This is all about building the resilience and trust you need to succeed in the long run.
And this leads us to a really fundamental question for any PMO leader out there. How do you level up your team's role? You don't want to be seen as just a bunch of ticket takers or a simple service desk. The real goal is to become a trusted, strategic advisor, a true partner in helping the organization win. So how do you make that leap?
Well, the answer really lies in these behaviors. It starts with having an actual communications plan, knowing who to talk to, when to talk to them, and what to talk about. It means you have to actively go out and ask for feedback. And, this is the important part, actually do something with it. It means being transparent, especially when things get tough. At the end of the day, you're trying to build a culture of collaboration where your customers see you as a team working with them, not just for them.
You know, a massive part of building that trust is handling risk like a pro. You can't just cross your fingers and hope for the best. A solid process has 4 basic steps. Regularly identify potential risks for every service you offer. For the really high-impact ones, develop contingency plans. Keep a living, breathing risk and issue log to track everything, and communicate openly with your customers about potential bumps in the road. This doesn't show weakness, it shows competence.
So when you boil it all down, daily operations, customer engagement, risk management, what's the one thing that underpins all of this? It's a commitment to learning. Honestly, your PMO's greatest long-term asset isn't a fancy tool or a rigid process. It's a culture of learning, powered by a strong knowledge management system where lessons are captured, shared, and actually used to make everyone better.
All right, this brings us to our final section, and this is where you get to put all of this into practice. Let's look at a practical takeaway you can use to figure out just how effective your own PMO's service operation really is.
So this self-assessment is broken down into 7 key areas, which, surprise, surprise, should look pretty familiar by now. They map directly to everything we've been talking about today, from daily delivery and SLAs, all the way through customer engagement and knowledge management. It gives you that complete 360-degree view of your operations. And using it is super simple. Seriously. For each of the 35 specific questions inside those 7 areas, you just rate your PMO's performance on a scale from 1 to 5. 1 means you're in a critical state, and 5 means you're absolutely excelling. It's designed to be quick, intuitive, and honest.
So once you've got your total score, you can see where you land on these performance tiers. They give you a really clear picture from critical, which basically means sound the alarm, we need to act now, all the way up through poor, average, good, and finally to excellent. It's an instant, data-driven benchmark of where you stand today. But let's be really clear about this. The point of this exercise is not to get a perfect score. The real value is in the process itself. Think of it as a tool for spotting your specific strengths and, even more importantly, your concrete opportunities to get better. It's all about creating a practical roadmap for improvement.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this one thought. Mastering daily service operation is a huge achievement, no doubt, but it's still just one part of that flywheel. The real question is, are you systematically learning from those operations? Because that leads you directly to the next crucial step, service monitoring. That's where you measure and assess how effective you are to drive continuous improvement. And you know what? That's a perfect topic for our next explainer.